1% of 1% or whatever, to gain tons of money while everyone else loses it. And it's not even like it's direct. Like, it's not even like it's indirect. It's like it's a clear upward redistribution of wealth, this pandemic, and it is just a completely kind of straight line there. So between February and April, 10% of Americans aged 25 to 54 lost their jobs. The employed percentage of the population dropped to the lowest level since 1975, according to Labor Department data. By August, employment had covered to the wake of the same levels of November 2011 in the wake of the Great Recession. Zooming out beyond the prime working age to employment among the entire adult population, so the full scope of the pandemic recession, about half of the employment lost between February and April has been recovered, but the pain does not spread evenly. Hispanic Americans saw the steepest initial employment losses and still have the most ground to make up to kind of reach the pre-pandemic employment. So they started off the highest. It was Hispanic, Asian, white, black, and Hispanic started off the highest and fell almost the furthest from where they were, but still below black Americans. The recovery is spread also spread unequally. White Americans have recovered more than half of their jobs lost between April and February. Meanwhile, black Americans have recovered just over a third of the jobs lost in the pandemic. The pandemic recession also took the greatest initial toll on young people. No surprise. 20% of all Americans aged 20 to 24 lost employment in the early months of the pandemic, and those ages 25 to 34 have only recovered 43% of lost employment. The pandemic economy has also affected mothers and fathers differently. Interesting. Mothers saw greater initial drops in employment than fathers, according to a post-analysis, which is kind of interesting because they also kind of break it down by age of youngest child. Youngest child, 13, 17, they were most likely to be, they were most likely employed. And then once the pandemic hit, they dropped, but 5 or younger were the least likely to be employed. But mothers dropped more and had a harder time kind of bringing it back. Of course, that falls to the general, really becoming less and less general societal expectation that mothers are supposed to take care of the kids. And it's happening, I think, like less and less. The discrepancy was largest among parents of school-aged children. Recovery among mothers whose youngest children were 6 to 12 has lagged behind fathers. The economic collapse sparked by the pandemic is triggering the most unequal recession in modern U.S. history, delivering a mild setback for those at or near the top of and a depression-like blow for those at the bottom, according to Washington Post analysis of job losses across the income spectrum. While the nation overall has regained nearly half of the lost jobs, several key demographic groups have recovered more slowly, including mothers of school-age children, black men, black women, Hispanic men, Asian Americans, younger Americans, and people without college degrees. And I think it's fair to say that if you target this, and if you target specifically policies, and this is kind of brings back to what I was kind of saying about or kind of the case that I think Bernie Sanders made during his 2020 presidential campaign very convincingly, that I think the best way to do something kind of like a reparation sort of policy would be to pass some sort of economic stimulus package, whatever that may look like, in terms of, for example, guaranteeing healthcare, guaranteeing college. That would be huge in terms of kind of increasing the middle class and giving people upward social mobility and economic mobility. But I think really what this does show is that people what this is it's a picture of the average working class. Like these are who the working class are today. Like overwhelmingly, it is kind of women over men. And it's more diverse than ever, like with Hispanic and African American people making up a good percentage of it. And I do want to give you the full breakdown of that. So this is again from July see how quickly we can see the most up-to-date information. This is around the most recent thing we've seen is April 16th. Far too often, the term working class is conflated with white and male identities frequently used. It would be nice, but all right, here. So 2016, 4.1% of the working class is Asian, 58% is white, 13.3% is black. So pretty much, yeah, it's more than ever reflects the country right now. So there's more African Americans than ever, more Latinos than ever in the working class, and more Asians than ever in the working class. So like it is, we're getting diverse here. We're getting parity, real racial parity. But yeah, in a situation where everyone's in a bad situation regardless of their race. So I mean, how great can it really be? But I mean, this is such a clear, I think, representation of who the working class is. And if you can target those policies, I mean, to the working class, and I think a Joe Biden administration is going to have to, at least in some way, figure out how to do that and help those people, especially target relief for once. And I mean, I don't even know if I trust them to do this. I think it's going to be very unlikely. Target some sort of stimulus package that actually goes toward the people who need it most, which is the working class and is overwhelmingly. I mean, you can take the identity politics perspective, or you can take the kind of just general perspective of you're helping out the poorest people, the working people of this country, and you're also overwhelmingly helping out black and brown Americans. And I mean, of course, there is a huge element here that is kind of going on untalked about, is the fact that like the economic structures that have created the racial divide that makes this situation so common. Like this, like there is something deeper at play here. We see black Americans kind of starting off at the lowest point, falling so far, and recovering so slowly. Like that is something that has really been kind of one of the more disturbing things to see, and kind of a reminder of really how far we have to come on really both racial and economic issues, and how disturbing it is that the person who may be leading the ground for the next 4 years is Joe Biden. I mean, even more disturbing if it's Trump, but not much better if it's Biden. Yeah, so that is a kind of a grim place to end things, I understand, but such is life nowadays. We will have a nice guest for you Sunday to Monday show, I promise you. Probably going to try and get Glenn Bradford to return to our show. I think that would be a great thing to have. Always a great voice on our show. The first guest, I should say. And we'll always be on Newsflash till the day it goes off the air. That's for damn sure. But yeah, really appreciate that. And really appreciate you listening. If you like the show, please feel free to rate and review us on iTunes. Give us some 5-star reviews. We need to get our rating up there, folks. So if you like the show, please help us do that and give us some good ratings. Thank you. We'll see you next time, Sunday. It's been Newsflash.